Hello internet, hello you beautiful people. This is yet another '08 video, and this is again about the stay alive situation. Everything else is fine. The speaker's fine. The decoder's fine. It's the stay alive, right? So as I've said many times before, probably I've definitely mentioned it at least twice. This thing, whilst it be 16 volts, whilst it be 1,000 microfarads, whatever that thing is, it just will not go in here, and you will not get the lid on and this in and that on, and unless you start taking some kind of Dremel to it. So this, no good. Get rid of that. However, this little thing here. Now, this may look like a 3D printed cube, and it is, but actually the measurements for this 3D printed cube is from a data sheet from a different type of capacitor. Yeah, the chemistry in these things is better, and it's more energy dense, and it is more than twice the price. But I mean, it's twice the price. Like, these things are less than £1. These things are about £1.50 or something each. Fine, no problem. So actually, they have about half the capacity. I think it's about 470 instead of 1,000. You can't get. I've not been able to find these in 1,000. Put it that way. So 16 volts is fine. That ticks the same box. It's half the capacity, but you can literally just solder two together, positive to positive, negative to negative, and therefore you now have not quite. You lose about, I think, 60 microfarads or whatever, which is nothing. Who cares? But I mean, look how small they are. Getting two of those in there, even if you had to run a wire between them, it's no problem at all. And actually, you won't have to run a wire between them. You can just solder these together, and even together in a solid block, no problem. That's gonna work beautifully, and that can go in the space which is back here. No cutting again, fully reversible, exactly what we're after. The downside is A, the price, as I mentioned, and B, actually, these are kind of, they're called tantalum. I believe that's the correct pronunciation. They're called tantalum capacitors. They are designed to be surface mounted onto circuit boards. They are, like, as I said, more expensive, but actually the kind of combination that we want is kind of unusual. 16 volts at 470 seems to be as high as we can go in the 16 volt bracket. And it kind of goes down from there, really. That is the higher end, which means the prices, they're just tricky to get hold of. Not everywhere stocks them. They're not rare by any measure, but they're just odd. So I found a website, Farnell. They sell them. Mouser also sell them, although I've had pretty poor service from Mouser in the past, so I'm not using them. Yeah, and yeah, the problem with these is that they are expensive. So we're talking, low volume, over £1 each. That's not a lot of money. And what would you think the postage would be? Would it be maybe £3 or £4 or a fiver to get it to your house? No, it's not. We're talking £15 because Mouser, for example, want to ship it from their American warehouse in Texas. Farnell, I think they do. Was it Farnell I found? I think so. Don't quote me on any of this. I'm doing this from memory from last night. Just pinch of salt and all that stuff. But basically, they said, look, if your order is under £30, there is like a £12 or £15, something like that, handling fee. I get it, because these are stupid little components. It's a stupid little order. I only want two, but out of kind of principle, even though I completely understand where they're coming from, but out of principle, I'm just not going to spend. I think the bill came to, I think on one vendor it was £30, and I think on the other it was £18, £19 or something for two silly little capacitors, which are kind of cheap as chips. So then I made a bit of a desperate maneuver, and I went on AliExpress and I've ordered some. Now, I paid a little bit extra. I think I paid an extra £1 for faster delivery, but I'm getting a strip of 10 of these. So I can, in theory, screw this up quite a few times. As long as I don't damage this lot up here, which, who knows. In theory, I could practice my solder and get it wrong a couple of times and still have spare parts, and that came to less than £5. The big downside is I'm not getting these things now until mid-June, so this may be the last of the videos that I make for now, at least about the '08. I don't know, maybe I'll make other videos, whatever. We'll see if people care about me once this '08 thing saga is dealt with. Yeah, so 3D printing these little squares, just took a couple of minutes to just put the dimensions into the software and spit out some cubes. easily fit behind here, very easily, and I can just then wrap them in electrical tape, you know, solder it onto there. And yeah, when you combine two, as long as you wire them correctly, they just turn into a bigger capacitor. That's going to work as far as I can tell. So yeah, it's a shame. Look, I'm out of just print. I'm in a little bit of a hurry because I don't like this thing being like this. Of course not. But again, you know, look at it. Look at the whole train set. This is a mess. So whatever. Right, I've got plenty of other things I can be learning. I'm brand new to this, as I said before. So it's not a big deal. So yeah, that's the downside of this. So there will now be quite a delay in getting this done and tested, but I'm very confident this is going to work. In the meantime, I'm going to work on the DCC controller I've started to build, and I'm going to try and find the third screw that I've lost. The fourth screw that I've lost out of here. It's not under here, is it? No, it's around. I'm sure it'll eventually turn up. What's that? It's a bit of fluff or whatever. And maybe glue this bit on because I broke that off on one of these, and I think I broke off a little bit of brake rigging here as well somewhere. That's around. No, I've lost that as well. I'm doing well, guys. Yeah, I'm you know, yeah, it's not Philly this stuff at all. Anyway, so that's where we're at on this one at the moment. So parts are on the way. They're coming from China. Let's be honest about it. They're coming from AliExpress. So I've not had a bad experience with AliExpress. In all fairness, it's always been okay for me. I know it's very often it's just cheap tat, and that's okay as long as you know. I just need two capacitors. These capacitors won't be under great strain. They'll just be a little battery backup thing. They won't be charging and fully discharging it like 50 times a second or anything. They'll just be there, just ready for when we go over a bit of dodgy track. So yeah, that's I think how that's going to work. Just these little capacitors with the different chemistry. I think we'll just wire them up, and that will be it. And that will finally be it. And we'll finally then be able to put the lid on permanently. Job's a good one, and we're happy. And we'll have a train which is reliable consistently on my layout. Works on DCC, makes noises, and runs very slowly because apparently that's how these things are. And I can then just haul all this stuff and put the Flying Scotsman back on there, and it's good. It's coming along, and hey, so there's the bit of missing brake. Yeah, so I snapped that off the body. that just pinged off. That little bit there is supposed to go on one of these corners. I'll just glue it back on. I'm surprised I even noticed, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, that's it, guys. So if you're not interested in the 08 stuff, if you're only interested in the 08 stuff, one more video after this, guys. Assuming I don't really screw this up, one more video and then we're done. And thank you to those who sent nice comments and sent likes, and some of you have even subscribed, you crazy people. Thank you very much. This is all good, and I'm going to start learning to make this not look like a piece of plasterboard, because that's what this is. This is legitimately plasterboard on a table, or with wood, obviously, and then on top of a table which I got from a charity shop. So you can do this on the cheap in some areas. So there we go. That's the update, guys. Someone asked about putting the HM7000, the 8-pin socket on here. I think that is probably possible. But you're going to have to probably unsolder all of this, solder it direct, because I mean it comes with a really long, thick cable. That's all going to have to go. You're going to have to unsolder all of that, and as soon as you do that, you are voiding warranties. And I think you're going to have to then solder it onto here. And knowing me, knowing what I'm like, I'm probably going to put something on Arse About Face and short it out. And the Stay Alive that comes with the HM7000s, well, it doesn't come with them; it's an optional extra. But those things are big. They are essentially just a couple of batteries, and they, Hornby say these things will run your loco for 5 seconds. Now, this big old thing can run your loco for about half a second, a quarter of a second or something, and yeah, even if they use technology which is this energy dense instead, if you're running this thing for 5 seconds, it's going to be too big. It just won't fit, guys. I don't think it will. I think Hornby are right in terms of their products. If you want their products with the sound, with the Stay Alive, it's just not going to work. But if the only bit that's non-Hornby that I'm fitting is the decoder itself and a couple of other bits. If you don't have access to a 3D printer, you can probably just bend some card or whatever. But I would be careful, because this bit here actually does double duty a little bit. So you've got the metal bit here, which kind of helps to pin down the motor. It goes around the motor, not all the way, but it does help pin it down a little bit, as does this. And you can see here, I've not quite got the measurement up. It kind of sticks up just a little bit at the end there. Probably another sort of 0.1 or 0.2 of a millimeter will sort that out. But I mean, frankly, I just didn't care. It did its job. But this is also helping to pin down the motor. I don't know how important this piece is. This piece definitely is. I tried to run it without that, and obviously the motor just jumped out as soon as it came onto any kind of pressure and tension whatsoever. But this piece here, I think, is a part of the kind of package. I might be wrong about that, but I mean, just look at your loco and see if it is pressing down on the motor and keeping it down. Then obviously, if you build your own part, which is not from a 3D printer, not using the STL files I've made, then you might just be... You might just want to make sure that if it is, I can't remember now. I'm far too lazy to put this back on. I'm not doing that now. So if you find that there is a gap there, then obviously don't worry about it. But if you may find if it is pushing down the motor a bit, that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, you could probably do this without a 3D printer, but I think a 3D printer makes it very easy because I mean this part here, the shroud on the speaker, that printed first time I got the measurements absolutely bob on, and I know it's pretty much airtight, and it just stuck on with no issues at all. Someone did ask about running the Sugar Cube speaker without the enclosure underneath it. Yes, technically you can, but please don't. Especially at higher volumes, your sound will just distort and it will sound like absolute garbage. At lower volumes, you may get away with it. You may not even notice it. And actually, maybe on the 08, that's the correct thing to do. I don't know. But I mean, frankly, look, they've spent time and money doing all this and sending it to you. This thing would be cheaper to make and sell if it didn't have these enclosures on them. They're there for a reason, right? So just bear that in mind. They're there for a reason. Yeah, I think that's it, guys. I think this is going to be the last 08 video until I get these teeny tiny little capacitors in, and I'm just going to just solder them together, shove them in, and then make another unedited piece of crap video like I keep doing here, and that'll be it. My next video will probably be about my DCC controller, which is now missing. That's been removed because I sent it, I showed it to someone, and I had to take it out of my house to show it to them. So I think that will be my next video, and I'll talk about the software I've started writing for that. And in terms of, I think it'd be quite nice. I got some good feedback actually when I showed it, because it said, yeah, it is quite nice. You can just see, much like the HM7000 software. I had the idea anyway, independently of seeing this. But yeah, the HM7000 does it quite well, where you can actually just say, okay, I want this sound, I want this function. But the good thing about it is it doesn't rely on Hornby's sort of secret code. Because, like, you know, only this HM7000 understandably only works with the HMDCC app. Whereas DCC will work on any loco that's DCC compliant. So it's going to have similar kind of a similar feature whereby it just says, okay, this is function 1, but this function does the whistle. Oh, this is function 10, but this function does the braking or whatever. And you can just press the button and it just does it, and it just, you know, you don't have to worry about, oh, is it function 16 that I want? You just press it and it's there. You can reorder it how you want to reorder it, and you'll also have dials and switches to do the motion of the train, and you'll have 2 dials, so you can do 2 trains at the same time independently. That's the dream anyway. At the moment, the software just about works 1 train at a time, and even then it crashes if you change the throttle too often. It's very, very early days. So hopefully, you know, I'm going to start setting that up over here and running it through here, and that might be my next video if I ever bother making another video. It's just not the 08. Anyway, have a good day, everyone. It's quite late here now, so I'm going to go get some sleep and upload this, and hopefully you'll see it in the morning. Have a great Thursday morning if you're seeing that. And if you've seen this many years in the future, then, you know, hey, that's me from the past. Woo, this is what we used to do to make trains run on Stay Alive. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm tired and I'm saying stupid things now. So I'm going to go to bed. Have a great evening, everyone. Have a great morning, whatever time you're seeing this. Like I said, next video, we'll have some capacitors in here. We'll have this running smoothly. And then if you're still around, if you're still hanging around, we're going to look at my little DCC controller that I'm home making. And then we'll look at, and if I can be bothered, I'll start making extra videos about making this thing not look like a complete, just look at it. I'll make this tidy and maybe start putting some scenery in and learning how to do that, because I do not know how to do any of this. I am brand new to this. I have no idea what I'm doing. So if you want to see an idiot learning things about railways, then stay subscribed. Otherwise, it's just one more video on this. Okay, yeah, I'm going now. Have a good evening, have a good night, have a good morning, whatever time you're watching this, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.